The diplomatic shuttle trembled as it descended through lavender clouds, its hull humming under the weight of an alien atmosphere thick with charged particles. Outside the viewport, the capital city of Karail spread like a living organism, towering spires curved like bone, bridges pulsed faintly as if veins carried light instead of blood, and massive banners of bioluminescent script floated in the air, projected by unseen emitters. This was the heart of the Jatheri Dominion, a civilization that had conquered or subjugated 12 star systems in less than a century. And I, Elias Rowan, was a human logistics officer, barely a diplomat at all, sent because everyone more important was either dead or too afraid. Earth had lost the war 3 weeks ago. When the Jatheri fleets arrived in Seoul, their ships blotted out the sun like moving continents. Our defenses lasted 17 hours. After that, silence. Cities were spared, populations left intact, but our governments were dismantled with surgical precision. The Jatheri did not rule through annihilation. They ruled through hierarchy. And hierarchy demanded a kneeling point. That was supposed to be me. The shuttle docked with a sound like a deep breath. The hatch opened, and warm, perfumed air flooded in, carrying the scent of minerals and something floral yet metallic. I straightened my uniform, simple, unadorned, intentionally humble, and stepped onto the platform. Waiting for me were 2 Jatheri honor guards, each over 7 feet tall, their exoskeletal armor fused directly to their bodies. Their faces were elongated, crowned with crests that shifted color as they observed me. Curiosity, perhaps? Or hunger? They escorted me through corridors that seemed grown rather than built, walls subtly reshaping themselves as we passed. At last, we reached the throne hall. It was vast beyond comprehension, a cathedral carved from a single crystalline mass. At its center rose the throne of resonance, a floating structure of interlocking rings that hummed with power. And upon it sat Queen Zalara Vesh. She was magnificent and terrifying in equal measure. The AlienQueen's form was tall and elegant, her skin a deep iridescent blue that caught the light like oil on water. For eyes regarded the world with cold intelligence, and delicate filaments drifted from her temples, glowing faintly. She wore no crown. She did not need one. Power radiated from her like gravity. I was brought forward, alone, until I stood at the base of the throne. The guards halted. One struck the floor with the butt of his weapon. "Kneel," he commanded, his voice reverberating through my bones. I hesitated for half a second, just long enough to remember Earth's burning skies, the silent satellites, the terrified faces watching alien ships pass overhead. Then Queen Zalara spoke. "Kneel," she said, her voice calm, musical and absolute. "Human emissary, you stand before the sovereign of the Jatheri Dominion. Your species has been measured. You have been found adaptable." I knelt. The cold floor pressed into my knee, and in that moment, every human watching the live transmission across occupied Earth saw me bow to an alien queen. I felt the weight of billions of lives on my back. Queen Zalara descended from her throne, her movements graceful as she circled me. "You are not a ruler," she continued. "You are not a warrior. You are not even a true diplomat. Why did your people send you?" I swallowed. "Because I understand systems," I said. "Supply chains, resource flows, population logistics. Empires don't fall from rebellion alone. They fall from mismanagement." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Interest. Rise," she said. I stood, heart pounding. Queen Zalara raised one slender hand, and the hall darkened. A three-dimensional projection blossomed between us, a map of Jatheri-controlled space. Trade routes glowed. Resource nodes pulsed. Some flickered weakly. "You see this?" she asked. This is why your species still exists. My dominion expands faster than it stabilizes. Rebellions simmer. Production lags. Worlds resist integration. She turned to face me fully. You will kneel again, she said, but not in submission. You will kneel in service. The words hit me harder than any threat. You will become my human governor, Queen Zalara declared. Overseer of Earth and its affiliated systems. You will ensure compliance, efficiency, and loyalty. Fail, and your planet will become an example. I understood then. This was not mercy. It was a test. The middle of my story began not with chains, but with authority no human had ever held. I was given a sigil, an organic device that bonded to my wrist, allowing me to issue commands recognized across Jotheri infrastructure. I was installed in a towering spire overlooking Earth, now part of the Dominion's network. Alien administrators deferred to me, reluctantly at first, then with growing respect as I solved problems they had ignored. I reorganized food distribution, using Earth's old logistics AI models scaled to interstellar supply lines. I stabilized energy grids by integrating human fusion expertise with Jotheri bioreactors. I listened to local leaders instead of silencing them. Rebellions faded, not because they were crushed, but because people were fed. Queen Zalara observed everything. Sometimes she summoned me via HoloLink, her presence filling the room even as an image. You rule differently than my governors, she said once. You reduce fear. Fear is expensive, I replied. Hope is efficient. She studied me for a long time after that. Months passed, then years. Earth became a model world within the Dominion. Productivity soared. Innovation accelerated. Humans and Jotheri engineers worked side by side. Other conquered species began requesting human advisors. Quietly, influence shifted. And then the crisis came. A coalition of outer systems rebelled simultaneously, crippling major trade arteries. Jotheri fleets were stretched thin. For the first time in centuries, the Dominion teetered. Queen Zalara summoned me to the throne world again. This time, when I entered the hall, there were no guards at my sides. You have seen what my dominion cannot, she said. We conquer space, but not loyalty. You have built it. She stepped closer, her voice lowering. The High Conclave challenges my rule. They say I have grown weak by trusting a human. I met her gaze. Then let me speak. The Conclave assembled. Ancient beings, warlords, architects of conquest. I stood before them, remembering the day I knelt. The Dominion is not failing because it expands, I said. It fails because it does not evolve. You rule through hierarchy alone. Humans rule through systems. Combine them, and you become unstoppable. They laughed. They argued. They resisted. Queen Zalara raised her hand, silencing them. By the laws of the Dominion, she said, a ruler may appoint a co-sovereign in times of existential threat. Shock rippled through the hall. She turned to me. Elias Rowan, the AlienQueen declared, you were ordered to kneel as a subject. You rose as a governor. Now, you will rule as my equal. The throne reshaped itself, forming a second seat beside hers. I did not kneel. I sat. The ending did not come with fireworks or battles, but with something far rarer in the galaxy, change. Under our dual rule, the Jotheri Dominion transformed into the Jotheri Accord. Conquered worlds became member systems. Military fleets became peacekeepers. Expansion slowed, but stability deepened. Earth was no longer occupied. It was influential. As for Queen Zalara and me, our partnership was not one of romance, but of balance, her ancient authority tempered by human adaptability. Together, we ruled not through fear, but through understanding that power without sustainability is just collapse delayed. Sometimes, when I stand on the balcony of the throne world and look out at the stars, I remember that first moment, the cold floor, the command to kneel. The AlienQueen ordered me to kneel. Minutes later, I ruled. And in that paradox, humanity found its place among the stars. Years later, historians would argue about the exact moment the Dominion truly changed. Some would say it was the day Earth's skies filled with alien ships. Others would claim it was the moment the Jatheri fleets stood down from endless conquest. But I knew the truth. Change began when a queen chose to listen and when a kneeling human chose to stand. On the final day of the Accord's ratification, Queen Zalara and I stood together beneath the throne of resonance as representatives from 100 species filled the hall. The throne no longer loomed above us. It hovered at equal height, no longer a symbol of dominance, but of shared authority. When the last sigil was placed and the Accord sealed, the hall did not echo with fear or obedience. It echoed with something new, agreement. Later, alone on the observation terrace, I watched stars drift like embers in a vast cosmic fire. Earth's system glowed softly on the galactic map, no longer marked as conquered, but as foundational. Humanity had not risen through strength of arms or superior technology, but through the simple, dangerous idea that systems could unite what fear could not. Queen Zalara joined me, her filaments glowing gently in the starlight. "You never knelt again," she said. "No," I replied. "But I never forgot why I did the first time." She inclined her head, a Jatheri gesture of respect once reserved only for equals. The galaxy would continue to change. Conflicts would arise. Perfection was never promised. But for the first time in recorded history, power was no longer measured solely by who could force others to kneel. It was measured by who could help them rise. And so my story ended where it truly began, not on my knees before an alien queen, but standing beside her, ruling a future where humanity was no longer small, no longer silent, and never again insignificant among the stars.